The Tennis Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Nordic Fantasy. Sign up with the promo code SGPN, get a $1,000 bonus credit. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn up to $70 per month in cashback rewards. When you sign up at edgeboost.bet, use the promo code SGPN. And welcome, everybody, to the Tennis Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It's currently Wednesday morning, March 26th, roughly 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I'm your host, the episode Scott Reichel, once again going solo for this pod. Time to get into the quarterfinals in Miami for the most part, because we are missing one match. Unfortunately, there were some delays yesterday, so the Fees and Zverev match never started. So we are only using 3 of the 4 quarterfinal matches because Zverev and Fees still have not completed their round of 16 match yet. So keep that in mind. We are going to go through the 3 matches we have on the actual schedule. 2 of them are taking place today. Specifically, you have the Cerundolo and Dimitrov match starting at around 4:10 p.m. Eastern Time. You have Korda against Djokovic later tonight. And then tomorrow, you have Berrettini and Fritz in the other quarterfinal match. But there is going to be another one, so keep an eye out for. Point is, we can't go through the 4th one yet because we don't have the matchup yet, because Zverev and Fees have not played each other yet in the round of 16. Anyway, point before we get into any of the breakdown of the quarterfinal matches, do want to remind me once again that you can't just support the show, but like, subscribing, YouTube, reminder, you can also leave a rating and review on Spotify or Apple. Podcast once again is available on YouTube live stream format. It's also simulcasted on Twitter, on the SGPN Twitter account, and if you can catch it either live or if you want to watch the video afterwards, that's fine too. Point is, when you do end up watching the content, don't forget to leave a like on the video, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Plus, a reminder, the podcast is also uploaded to Spotify and Apple, so if you do want to listen to the podcast audio only, that's fine. You just hopefully remember to leave a rating and a review. Plus, a reminder, check out the merch store on the SGPN website. We have a lot of great Tennis Gambling Podcast merch with sweatshirts, t-shirts, and mugs. High quality, different colors, and very affordable. Recommend getting yourself something there. Plus, if you do want to get this mini SGP helmet, you can. We also have that on the merch store as well. Now, a reminder for the actual network, we do have a great promo going on, because if you do want to actually get all of the picks and podcasts in one location for free, don't forget to download the SGPN app wherever you do get your apps. Anyway, starting off with the actual recap of the last episode. Overall, a perfect episode for us. We got everything right. So, besides the lock and dog picks, which unfortunately did not sweep, because we did end up getting a void out of the lock, we were undefeated for the entire episode. I'll get into that in a second. For the lock, though, picked up a push as you saw Makic end up withdrawing from the event as he was taking on Makic. He was taking on Mensik, I mean. Point is, though, minus 125 didn't matter as Makic ended up beating Opelka and then dipped from the event, so picked up a void there. For the dog, though, nice win with Cerundolo to win the first set and the match against Ruud, which he did, as he was able to win comfortably. It was an ass-kicking. He dominated. It felt like it was pretty close early, and then once Cerundolo got that break in the first set, the match was over. And you saw a bit of a delay there, but eventually they completed the match, and Cerundolo did win in straight sets. Now, getting into the full actual recap of the round of 16, Dimitrov beat Nakashima in straight sets. We called that around plus 130. Thought Korda would end up beating him on fee. He did. Bit of a 3-set marathon there, but Korda did eventually outlast him as he got the job done. Saw Cerundolo beat Ruud in straight sets. We thought that he would win the first set in the match that got there. Thought Djokovic would beat Musetti in straight sets. He did. We didn't cover the de Minaur match because he was still taking on Fonseca. We recorded, and you're looking at Fritz beating Walton. We did like the Walton team total under 8.5 games, and that got there as Fritz did win, with Walton only winning 8 games. So once again, if you backed any of the plays I liked, you won, besides the Makic team total over, which ended up voiding. So either way, a perfect episode for us. In addition to being undefeated for the lock and dog, we got every match right. So it feels pretty good. Hopefully we'll keep it rolling here for the actual quarterfinal matches. Check in the comment section, though, just seeing who is in the live stream comments right now. So I see Lodge Tech stopping by. Joker in straight sets, talking about Korda. Might have been a bit fortunate that Monfils was potentially distracted. I think it might have been the wrist issue, which Korda was able to get by. Korda, I thought, looked very good over the course of that match. He's been good in the event so far, but the issue you're running into, I'll get into in a second with the preview for the Djokovic match. He's had wrist issues in the past, so him having another wrist flare-up is not what you want to see. Entering this match, we'll see how he looks, but I'll get into a bigger, I'd say, in-depth breakdown in a second. Looking at some of the other people in the comment section here, I see Joe Dollar asking if I was getting confirmation on Korda's wrist issues. I mean, it's well documented at this point. We'll see how he looks because he has had some time off in between that Monfils match. I mean, looking at the actual card, he faced off against Monfils pretty early on in the afternoon yesterday. So we'll see if the 24 hours can give him the bump that he needs. We'll see. A point is, though, definitely noticed that the wrist was acting up on him there. Besides that, looking at everybody else in the comment section, I see Kyle stopping by, Ryan stopping by. I see Brett stopping by as well. Yeah, point is, though, definitely a fun round of 16 for us. Hopefully, we'll keep rolling here in the quarterfinals. Now, I do want to quickly think if there's any actual news I want to talk about for tennis, just in the general landscape of the sport. If there are any news headline caught my eye. I know that there was that lawsuit that was happening with all the players, basically under Djokovic, who were trying to sue basically the entire ATP tour, basically. But I'm not going to really get into that. Don't really know the details yet, so I'm going to kind of wait on that. Besides that, for the women's side, I know Goff ended up losing, as she ended up losing to, I believe it was Lynette in the match a couple days ago. Besides that, trying to think if there's anything else worth talking about. I know Cornette's supposed to return to tennis on the women's side after retiring in May, so we'll see how she does in her return. Nothing else to really add there. So once again, point is not really many news headlines worth talking about. Didn't notice the actual lawsuit happening. Just didn't really talk about it, kind of waiting for more, I'd say, headlines regarding it. But anyway, time to get into the breakdown of the quarterfinals in Miami. Forward to that, though, remember once again that we are brought to you by our sponsor, DraftKings, because DraftKings is the place to bet on college basketball and March Mania. One thing's for sure, nothing's for sure. Upsets, buzzer beaters, Cinderella's advancing, top seeds going home early. But bet the unexpected every day, every upset with DraftKings Sportsbook with $5. You can also, if you're a new customer, bet $5, get $200 of bonus instantly. And a reminder, with live bet, exclusive content, promos, and parlays, DraftKings is the ultimate college basketball destination for March. Bet the unexpected, though, with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use code SGP. Code SGP for new customers to get $200 bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5 only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
We're also brought to you by Rhythm, because Rhythm is the home for AI picks and props. They're already off to a great start in this NCAA tournament by helping you dominate March Madness. Building a custom model, though, is easy and profitable. They also have models on NBA, golf, and soon MLB. Reminder that opening day is tomorrow. So if you are looking for baseball stuff, check out Rhythm in a bit when they do end up uploading some MLB models. A reminder that you can try it out for free for a week by using the link sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Rhythm for a 7-day free trial. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finish recapping the round of 16. Time to move on into the quarterfinal matches. Starting off with the first match on the actual card. A reminder, there are two matches taking place today. And then you have the Berrettini and Fils quarterfinal match tomorrow. And you have the Zverev or Fils match on Thursday as well, once we find out who actually makes it into the quarters from that delayed match from yesterday's schedule. Now, for the first match, you have Cerundolo against Dimitrov in a pretty, I'd say, unexpected quarterfinal matchup, but should be fun nonetheless. Dimitrov is minus 120 on the money line. Cerundolo is plus 100. For the spread, minus 1.5 for Dimitrov, plus 1.5 for Cerundolo. The over-under in games is set at 23. For the set spread, you have Dimitrov in straight sets at plus 185. You have Cerundolo in straight sets at plus 260. The over 2.5 sets is around plus 130. Worth mentioning, the half face-off one time before in the head-to-head, but it was on grass in 2023. Can't really use it because there's a different surface, but the point is Dimitrov did win that one in straight sets, 6-3, 7-5. Now, Dimitrov has been playing very well so far in the event. He had a couple of retirements entering the 1,000 tournament slate, and then he was able to beat a couple of guys in Indian Wells, beating Borges and beating Monfils, and then you saw Alcaraz destroy him. But he was able to bounce back here in Miami, beat Cena, ended up beating Kashanov in a marathon, and ended up beating Nakashima in straight sets yesterday. As for Cerundolo, he has been on fire. He was in good form in Indian Wells, ended up beating de Minaur, then had a loss to Alcaraz. Gave it a good run, though. Ended up losing in a breaker in the second set after being up a break. Then he went into this event and said, I'm going to dominate. And he's not dropped a set. Beat Mueller in straight sets, beat Paul in straight sets, and beat Ruud in straight sets. So the point is, Cerundolo, despite being more of a clay guy, definitely has some hard court chops, and it seems like he's been showcasing his overall firepower, and the crowd behind him has been extremely helpful with the just insane support he's gotten from the Argentinian locals in Miami, or the people that have actually traveled to see him play. But I mentioned it before when I did attend this event years ago. I saw Del Potro play, and the Argentinian crowd is always getting behind their guys in Miami. And that is also why we ended up backing him against Ruud. We thought that he was in good form, and we thought that the crowd would help him, and the crowd definitely did, as Cerundolo did win that match comfortably. Now, Dimitrov, I think, has been the better player based on form. You could argue that it's close, though, because, once again, Cerundolo's been really good. Like, I'm not going to, I'd say, underrate how good he's been so far. I recognize it, but Dimitrov, I think, has been playing very well. The serve's been very good. Dimitrov has been broken 0 times in this event. 0. He's been serving perfectly. The one set he dropped to Kashanov was a breaker. So the point is, if Dimitrov's going to serve that well, Cerundolo is okay at serving. He's not great at it. If Dimitrov can hold serve regularly, I see enough chances for him to get the job done. And I do think that Cerundolo might be forced to break it at least once or twice in this match to have a shot. Now, I think it could be a marathon. I do think I understand why the price is so cheap for Dimitrov. But at the end of the day, if you've been broken 0 times in this event, I think you're probably worth something on the money line, especially for the defending runner-up from last year. Dimitrov's been very good on these courts, beat Alcaraz last year. We saw him lose to Sinner. Everyone loses to Sinner on hard court. Really no shame in that. But I think I'm going to go with Dimitrov in this one to get the job done. I think the price is pretty cheap, but I do think Cerundolo will make it interesting. Maybe the over 2.5 sets a plus 130, but I think Dimitrov, for a guy who has not been broken in the entire event, to only be laying 120, I think it's a pretty good price. Yes, I know Cerundolo ended up beating Paul, and yes, he ended up beating Ruud. Ruud, we know, has been kind of a mess on hard courts over the last few years. He made a deep run in Dallas. It is what it is. But the point is, Ruud, for the most part, tends to underachieve more often than overachieving on hard court events. And you are looking at Ruud, who beat Tabilo, had a bit of a struggle there against Kekmanovic, who wasn't really in great form. And you ended up seeing Cerundolo dominate. But I like how Dimitrov's played. I like how he's looked both here and in Indian Wells, and I think you're looking at a pretty cheap price for how that's been serving very well over the course of the entire event. For me, I'm going to go with Dimitrov. I think minus 120 is a bit cheap here. Yes, Cerundolo can pull off the upset. It would not shock me, but I do think Dimitrov has looked better, in my opinion. And the variety's also there. I know Cerundolo has some variety as a clay guy, but the unforced error count can get very high with Cerundolo, and if Dimitrov's able to showcase the slice, able to keep Cerundolo off balance, he can mess with the timing, and I think you're looking at a spot where Cerundolo might end up having a bunch of unforced errors if Dimitrov is patient and if he uses the variety that we know that he possesses. So give me Dimitrov in this one at minus 120. Moving on to the next match, going to look at a matchup between Korda and Djokovic. Now, Joker is a massive favorite. A reminder, we already have action on this match because we have Joker to win the actual quarter. So we already have a much better price, plus money on Joker. But if you have not taken the quarter play with me, Joker's around minus 400. You have Korda plus 320. For the over-under, you have 22 games. For the spread here, you have minus 4 for Djokovic, plus 4 for Korda. For the over-under sets, you have over 2.5 sets at around plus 160. For the set spread, you have Joker minus 1.5 sets at minus 130. You have Korda to win a set at plus 100. Now, for that, did history face off one time in their careers in Adelaide, and Joker did win a very, very competitive match. I think he fought off a couple match points, actually. But the point is, Joker lost the first set, won the second set via breaker, and then did win the third set. So it was an absolute marathon. But that was dated as that was over 2 years ago. Now, Joker's been great. He's not dropped a set yet. Ended up beating Chikata in straight sets, beat Ugo Carabelli in straight sets, and beat Musetti 6-2, 6-2. Dominated Musetti the entire match. As for Korda, he's been really good. Now, ended up beating Spazziri, which is not that impressive in straight sets. Beat Tsitsipas, though, in straight sets, and beat Monfils in 3. The problem was, and it was mentioned in the comment section before, Korda did hurt his wrist in that match against Monfils, got through it. We know that he does have wrist issues, and that is definitely a problem he's been dealing with for the last couple months. So with that being the case, do I think Joker should be minus 400? I do. I think Korda would have a chance to make it very competitive if he was fully healthy. And if it was a random injury, then maybe I would be able to ignore it. But when you've had wrist issues in the past and your wrist is acting up again, you have some problems on your hands. I do wonder if Korda even completes the match from a physical perspective. Because if you are dealing with wrist issues, you've had, I believe, surgery on a wrist before, and now it acts up again, will you be more likely or less likely to kind of maybe quit mid-match if you are used to the pain? And I do wonder if he wants to avoid further injury if Korda ends up quitting, either physically in terms of retirement or maybe just rolling over, letting Djokovic take it. So I wanted to make a case for Korda, and I think I probably would have if he was fully healthy, but he's not. And yes, he got by Monfils. He has more than 24 hours to heal. But the fact that he's had wrist issues in the past and the fact that Joker's been in great form so far here, I think is a really bad combo for Korda. So I think I am going to go with Joker. I'll probably go with Joker straight sets at minus 130. Once again, it's kind of upsetting because Korda's been playing great tennis, ended up beating Tsitsipas and Monfils. But with the wrist issue, Joker is not the guy you want to face, who we know can go into wall mode. And if he's going to force Korda to win a bunch of long rallies, basically testing out the wrist, I don't like that prospect. Now, if Korda was against a guy, for example, let's say Opelka, a guy that's going to serve very big, a guy that's going to have a lot of short points, maybe I would take Korda to win that one. But against Djokovic, who's going to try to prolong every rally, I think it's a really bad matchup for Korda here. Korda maybe wins a set, but I just question if he'll be able to look even close to how sharp he looked a couple rounds ago, or if the wrist will act immediately. I'm not a big, I'd say, fan of that prospect. Give me Joker in straight sets. Hopefully Korda can get healthy. I know I've roasted Korda in the past for being a bit of a head case. I know that he came on strong at the end of last year when he did win the City Open. But the point is, I do think Korda's injuries are noteworthy, and I feel like it's worth talking about. So I am going to go with Joker in straight sets at this one. Think that he's a tough matchup for Korda in general, and Korda with the injuries should be below 100%. Give me Joker in this one in straight sets. Now, moving on to the match right now, the only match we have for the Thursday card, Fritz against Berrettini. A pretty fun matchup here. Fritz is a decent favorite, as Fritz is around minus 180. You have Berrettini at plus 160. For the spread, you have minus 2 for Fritz. You have plus 2 for Berrettini. For the over-under in games, you have around 24.5 at minus 110 on the over, minus 120 to the under. For the set spread, you have Fritz in straight sets at plus 135. You have Berrettini to win straight sets at plus 325. The over 2.5 sets is around plus 140. Now, for the actual head history, you have seen Fritz look very sharp in the history, as Fritz has actually never lost. He's currently 4-0 lifetime against Berrettini. Now, they have faced off a couple of times on hard court. In fact, every meeting, I believe, has been on hard court, and Fritz has won. Now, Fritz, on top of that, has actually won a bunch of sets in a row. Berrettini won the first set ever between them in the Davis Cup in 2019. Fritz, since then, has won 9 straight sets, including the U.S. Open win last year in straight sets, en route to a final loss against Sinner. Now, for the actual form, both guys in the event, Fritz has been good, and ended up beating Sonego in straight sets, beat Chapo in straight sets, and beat Walton in straight sets. Walton is a very fortunate draw for the round of 16, but not really Fritz's fault. He just ended up getting a good draw and he advanced. But Chapo can be dangerous, and Sonego can be dangerous as well. You saw him look decent in Indian Wells as well, beating Gigante, beating Tabilo, and then eventually did lose to Draper, which aged very well because Draper won the entire event. As for Berrettini, he's been good too. Did beat Gaston in 3, beat Bergs in straight sets, and beat de Minaur in a good win there in straight sets. De Minaur match is kind of weird, though, because de Minaur did have a marathon against Fonseca, which ended very late the day prior. So the problem that you have with Berrettini, even though he ended up beating de Minaur, do I think he's faced off against better competition than Fritz in this event? I think that you're making the argument that de Minaur is better than anybody that either guy's faced, if you wanted to combine everybody. But for consistent competition, Bergs, I think, can be up and down. I don't think much of Gaston on hard court. You could argue that it's pretty even. Fritz maybe has faced off against better players, but de Minaur win is still impressive nonetheless. But I will point out he did have a marathon against Fonseca basically the day prior. I'll say de Minaur did not look as sharp as he normally would, but I do think Berrettini can keep this match very competitive. I think the serve is going to be a serious story here as both guys serve well. The forehand we know is also dangerous for Berrettini. The problem is the backhand disparity here. Fritz does have a consistent backhand, and you are looking at a spot where I just question Berrettini's backhand in some longer rallies. We know Berrettini can slice if he needs to, but the backhand itself has always been a weakness for his game. Fritz's backhand is pretty consistent, and I do think if you end up getting into a backhand battle there, Fritz does have the edge. But for the price alone, do I think Fritz should be minus 180? I get it, but I think it's a little bit steep. I'd probably have Fritz at around minus 150. In this one, at the end of the day, the court speeds in Miami are pretty fast, and with Berrettini's serve, he can beat anybody. And I do think Berrettini, if he's able to hit his spots and if he's able to showcase the firepower on the serve and the forehand, I think he can win. Am I picking him to win? No. But I think minus 180 is a price that's a bit too steep, in my opinion, on Fritz. Give me Berrettini for the value, but I'm going to go with the over instead as my main option for this one. I think Berrettini's been playing well, and I think that Berrettini has the overall game that translates well to the courts here in Miami. Fritz does too. We also know Fritz can be a head case who can slip up in moments you don't exactly expect. And I think Berrettini can once again use the firepower to keep Fritz off balance and to keep Fritz, I'd say, uncomfortable over the course of the match. I'll go for the value on the over. I don't mind the over 2.5 sets. Maybe the Berrettini, I don't want to say money line, but maybe you can make an argument for it. The point is Fritz has won a bunch of sets in a row against Berrettini, but I think Berrettini has the game to win at least a set here against Fritz. And if that's the case, I like the over in this one. So give me a close matchup. Fritz might win it, but I think Berrettini's actually live despite never winning a head-to-head meeting. So that's kind of my thoughts on that one. Once again, apologies. We are missing a match for the quarters because we did not finish the round of 16 yesterday. And once you end up getting the final between the final result between Zverev and Fils, you will have your fourth quarterfinal match. But unfortunately, we do not have that available to us. So that's going to be Mensik, by the way. So the winner of the the winner of the Zverev and Fils match plays Mensik in the quarterfinals. Anyway, now it's time for the actual lock and dog picks of the show. Before we get into the lock and dog, remember once again, they're brought to you by Underdog because they have a great Underdog pick'em where you can enter your entry and win up to 100 times your money. Any sport, you can mix sports. You can use MLB, you can use NBA, college basketball, tennis, etc. Once again, 100 times your money is the ceiling when you do use the Underdog Pick'em. And a reminder, when you do sign up for your new account, use the promo code SGPN to claim a special pick and the first time offers that offer up to 1K bonus cash on fancy promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by EdgeBoost because EdgeBoost partnered up with SGPN, Premier Visa debit card for bettors. EdgeBoost card allows the ability to avoid being hassled by having your card denied at the sportsbook or DFS site. So if you want to get the actual options without getting your card denied, you can definitely use EdgeBoost for a card at the sportsbook, DFS site, etc. to avoid getting your card denied. Plus, you can cash back rewards, $70 per month in cash back rewards by using the EdgeBoost card, and your card's FCC insured, so the money is safe. Best part in the credit checks, completely free. A reminder, though, when you do sign up for your actual EdgeBoost card, sign up today at edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Finish breaking down the 3 quarterfinal matches that we have on the schedule. Now it's time for the lock and dog picks. For the lock, I've been doing well with the team totals recently, so I'm going to go back to the team totals here. Going to go back to the Dimitrov and Cerundolo match here. Thought about Dimitrov money line, but instead I'm going to go with the team total over 12.5 games here at minus 136. Now, Dimitrov has been in great form. Said before that he has not gotten broken in the entire event so far. However, he has gone over this team total in 2 straight matches. He had the 3-set marathon against Khachanov, and he had a 7-5 set against Nakashima. Point is, though, Dimitrov has been returning okay. The serve's been good, but I think Cerundolo has been serving well, too, and I think he's been playing well. So I think it makes sense that the line is pretty close to each other on the money line. Yes, Dimitrov can win outright. I expect him to, but I'm kind of treating it the same way I treated the Khachanov match, where he could win and it goes over, or maybe he loses a marathon 3-setter and he ends up going over anyway. Point is, though, I see a very competitive match here between Dimitrov and Cerundolo. I think you're looking at a guy who has been serving very well, and I can see a 7-5 or 7-6. The point is, though, with the team total, there is a chance Dimitrov ends up winning a close set and then buries him in the second set if Cerundolo starts to unravel, or as a mental lapse, which we have seen before. So give me the Dimitrov team total over in this one. couple ways to get there, but I do think there should be at least one set with 7-5 in it, and I think you do have a shot at potentially getting 3 sets based on Cerundolo being in great form. Cerundolo has not dropped a set in the entire event, and Dimitrov has not been broken in the entire event. So give me a close matchup here. Give me Dimitrov team total over 12.5 games here at minus 136 as my lock. For my dog, I am going to go to the Fritz and Berrettini match. Give me a total play. Give me the first set over 10.5 games here at plus 105. This was on Bet Rivers. Now, both guys we know are great at serving, and the match total is set at 24.5. So you are looking at what should be I'd say, hold fest between these two guys, and you're looking at Fritz having a couple of long first sets recently. 3 of Fritz's last 4 matches have had a first set of at least 12 games, and you're looking at the head-to-head history, also featuring a couple of long first sets, as 2 of the 4 head-to-head meetings had a first set with at least 12 games. But you're looking at the first set total of 10.5. Both guys we know can serve very well. Both guys returning can be a bit underwhelming at times, but if Berrettini's first serve lands, he's very tough to break. I see a very competitive match here. You might get a breaker in the first set. It wouldn't shock me, but I'll leave the door open because Fritz had a couple 7-5s. Give me a competitive first set that goes a bit distance here at plus money with 2 very good servers on the fast courts here in Miami. So once again, the plays here for the quarterfinals in Miami, the lock's going to be on Dimitrov team total over 12.5 games at minus 136. For the dog, I'm going to go with Fritz and Berrettini first set over 10.5 games at plus 105. That's going to wrap it up for this episode. I'm back once again for the semis in Miami. Check in the comment section, though, quickly before I go, looking at some people that stopped by. I see Rick stopped by. I see Cho stopped by as well. Insano stopped by. Insano told me the team total at 12.5 is actually minus 122. So I actually might adjust that price. I know when I ended up compiling the line, some books did not have team totals up yet, which was pretty annoying. Let me quickly see if I actually can adjust that price live on the show. So thank you for pointing that out to me, Insano. Let me just quickly see if I can find that price available. I see 126. So it already has moved a little bit, but you are right. There's a better price out there. So I am going to quickly change up the price right now. So once again, the lock play is now going to be Dimitrov team total over 12.5 at minus 126 on FanDuel. Thank you, Insano, for pointing that out. And for the dog, I'm going to go with Fritz and Berrettini first set over 10.5 games. I see Tony mentioning Bet Rivers. Yeah, once again, I'm picking books that actually have lines available. I'll put it this way. I think Bet Rivers is not exactly the best book around. They actually have a decent tennis selection, and I find their tiebreaker odds are actually pretty good if you want to compare them to other markets. So something to keep in mind, every book does have its purpose, so just keep that in mind. Point is, though, Leonard stopping by, thanking me for the analysis, checking out AO, who stopped by as well. I also see a couple other people. Bill stopped by. I saw Rolf stop by. Appreciate it. Point is, though, I'll be back once again for the actual semis here in Miami. Till next time, a reminder, I'll be back on baseball later tonight for opening day with Adam, and I'll be back on the NBA show tomorrow. Till next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.